I'm going to do all of that again because I was on mute and I've just realised. Saying of 2020, you're on mute. Fantastic. That's what you get for putting a little window over the corner of your screen. There we go. So welcome to another episode of Short and Sweet, but Sweet's in the studio and Short's on the chat. So welcome to Ben. Great to have you with us in the chat, Ben. And also a big shout out to our friend Stuart as well, who's having a tough time of it, thanks to our friend COVID-19. So big shout out to Stuart. Get well soon, buddy. Really looking forward to tonight. Obviously, a few weeks ago, we had the opportunity to share my sort of VIA 20 experience with a couple of my Concatenate buddies, with Kelly and with Peter and various other people as well in the chat. And I thought, what better opportunity than to get in our coach for Team Concatenate, as well as so many other things. So without doing her any disjustice, I'm going to welcome onto the screen Jess Marsh. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Darren and everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I'm really excited about tonight. Jess, I don't even know where to start really, because basically you pop up everywhere.
I try.
And literally everything I seem to go to, every webinar, any kind of coaching thing that's going on, any VIA thing, any innovator stuff, any training stuff, you just tend to turn up, even if you're on the train. Which is absolutely brilliant. So do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm an American, as you can tell from my accent. I know that throws people off sometimes if you're listening in from the UK. But I've been told my accent sounds like I'm from all over the place. So I think living in different countries has kind of adapted that. I've also been an educator in Italy and Germany and different schools there, as well as my native land, California. So now I'm here in England and with my British husband and family, and we've been doing all kinds of different things. Most recently, I think I've literally worked with every kind of learner that there is age-wise throughout my history as an educator, but most recently working with the innovators and VIA 20 and working with Canopy, and we're I think going to talk a little bit about that work, the G Suite skills too. So I don't know, it's hard to sum up, honestly. I'm very not good at it either.
No, and so much going on, and fully appreciate you giving us your time this evening, because I know time is precious, and particularly on a Sunday evening. So thank you very much for that. I just wanted to start off, Jess. Obviously, as we've said, you've been involved with a lot of the Google Innovator and the training and the coaching and things like that. How did you get involved in that in the first place?
Yeah, so I'm actually a GTA member. So GTA Sweden 13, shout out to anybody out there. I know some people that are still really active, but it was so different back then. And of course there are elements that were still very similar. But yeah, so that was my first exposure to the innovator world. And that was through Wendy Gorton, actually. She and I went to the same university, Fight On Trojans. So Wendy had, long running influence in the innovator academies. And just recently, she left this work. So this was actually our first academy completely without her. So that was an interesting thing.
Okay. Well, nice, easy one to do.
Where was Wendy when we needed her? No, but
absolutely.
It was all innovative. That was what was so exciting about this, was it was all brand new. So we did get to kind of make everything from scratch, and that was mainly with Andy Caffrey, and we through Canopy. As that's where my employee. So and Andy's our CEO. We've had an interesting year of rebranding and everything. Previously ed tech team. So that's, I guess, where that all comes from down the line. But that's my influence most recently has been through that. And actually, Andy found me for the job, for my original Canopy, or what was then EdTech job, through the innovator community. So it is a very strong community. Yeah. I was posting in the, what was it, TED Ed app, that whole exciting thing. One of the benefits of being an innovator, you had access to the TED Ed special class that they did. And so I was posting a chat in there, and he was like, wait, you're an innovator in England? Why don't I know about you? And then we got in touch. So
that's brilliant. And we should just point out for anybody in the chat who's not aware, GTA is not Grand Theft Auto. It's the precursor to the Innovator Academy, right?
Right.
Google Teacher Academy. Absolutely.
Yes. Sorry for my acronyms.
So Jess doesn't go around stealing cars and shooting people and all that kind of stuff. Well, not that I know of, anyway.
No, definitely.
No, it's all good. Okay, brilliant. I'm sure Andy wouldn't have employed you otherwise. Although I don't know where he finds the time to do half the things he does as well. So absolutely superb. Because the start of the year must have been quite strange then, because obviously working with Andy with the EdTech team and now Canopy, obviously previously it was a lot of in-person training, and all of a sudden schools shut down. That must have been quite a worrying time initially, I would have thought.
Yeah, we were a bit concerned because the majority of our work was in-person training. And so that, of course, vanished with the lockdowns and things in the UK. And then we actually already had the G Suite Skills package that we were working on in the background. We'd worked with some developers in Sweden. Hello, shout out. And that started actually about a year ago. And so we had already begun to work on that, but in no way was it completely ready to launch out to a bunch of schools that were just going online. But that would have been an even more amazing time to put it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so we were working on that throughout. COVID, it kind of made sense, of course, to now really put some metal behind that, or some what is the word I'm looking for? Some motivation behind that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's we'll talk a little bit more about that later on, and you're going to show us G Suite Skills personally, but and it it is a fantastic. I'll just show off my mug.
Oh yes,
fantastic program which I've completed, and I was the first, wasn't I? I was the first.
It is. Yes, number one. I do. Yep. It wasn't.
I'd show my sticker, but it's on the back of my laptop, so I can't. But there you go.
No.
So VIA 20, Jess, how was that? Because obviously we spoke about it previously from a delegate's point of view, but how was it from a coach's point of view? Like you said, your first one without Wendy, the first one online. We didn't know whether it was even going to happen at one stage. So what was that like?
Yeah, at the very beginning, there was still hope that there would be some in-person events perhaps as well. And, that even now for the future, we don't know, what will happen. But I think that what came out of VIA 20 shows that it would always be amazing to have an online academy because of so many benefits that come from it. Like we got to have applications come in from all over the world. And although it was overwhelming, to have people review those and do that's Andy behind the scenes doing all that data collection of the score from the scorers and everything. That process was insane, but also just amazing to show what a huge kind of network it is, and how you're really kind of, being you're going through multiple processes to get through this. It's not like someone just objectively or subjectively at Google sitting there and saying, okay, let's get this person in or that person. It's a whole community and people objectively reviewing things, and so you actually deserve to be there, as someone special, that you've gone through this amazing process. And so well done, Darren. And team. And then from the coaching side, this was my first time being a coach. And really amazing to be with such an amazing group of coaches. Definitely had that feeling that we often talk about in the academies of, oh my gosh, now I've just lost the term. The
imposter syndrome.
Thank you, Darren. See, you help me do this in our meetings too. Darren's always on it. Yeah, imposter syndrome. Like, oh, how am I here? Why am I here? And had an amazing time learning from the others, and also having it be a bilingual academy. We had both Spanish coaches and English-speaking coach, Spanish-speaking, English-speaking. So yeah, as you know, with your multiple languages, definitely got a practice with some different languages. As
definitely,
we spoke some Italian, and
we did.
It was lovely.
Great.
Yeah, I missed speaking Italian and hearing Italian, and it was really awesome going into some of the Spanish sessions, and also communicating with the Spanish innovators and the coaches and everything. Just, I don't know, I loved it. I loved the multicultural global feel of the entire thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of us spoke sort of offline, if you like, away from the academy, and we had sort of like little UK groups, and we had a concatenate group and all that kind of thing, and we were blown away by how diverse it was, yet how inclusive it felt, and that everybody felt like they could count on everybody and talk to everybody, and everyone was in the same boat. And although we didn't get to go and have like parties in the bar and all that kind of thing, we did do a pretty good job of taking over one of the breakout rooms on graduation and doing some karaoke. So it wasn't all bad, it wasn't all bad. But certainly, and I've seen the same thing in the classroom, teaching remotely. I think certainly doing the VIA remotely as well, it gives you the opportunity sometimes to use some tools and some approaches you wouldn't have used if you were in person, right?
Yeah, so actually that was a big challenge. That obviously there are times in the academies that usually you would kind of go offline and just do some sketching or some on paper work. Yeah. And we did do that with our Post-its, of course, always have to have the Post-its. But it was different because we have to eventually reconnect this way. But actually, with the whole COVID situation, it became more of a norm for people to be communicating this way and making connections and relationships this way. So in a way, it just kind of started to flow, and that community is very much still there and still growing. And I hope it continues to grow. A lot of groups still have strong connections and are still meeting. And
Christmas party on Wednesday for VIA UK.
Yay.
But absolutely, I mean, a lot of the approaches we used in those early sessions, the design thinking processes, the crazy eights, and all of the stuff we did with jam boards and all that kind of stuff, I've taken straight forward into my teaching this year, and feedback from the students has been really good as well, and they've loved the freedom of something like a crazy eight, which we should probably explain to people who aren't aware. So crazy eights is basically 8 lots of 40 seconds of coming up with ideas and not editing yourself, which I found really, really difficult, I have to say, because I do tend to self-edit a lot. And that was probably a big sort of light bulb moment for me. Like, no pun intended with the light bulb and all that, but it was, in the, sometimes you can really talk yourself out of things that on their own might not be a great idea, but it's when you then put them with somebody else's not great idea and somebody else's not great idea, and they suddenly start to work. So Crazy Eights I thought was fantastic, and then kind of narrowing everything down from there and going through our how might we statements and everything else was really fascinating for me, actually.
I think, Aaron, you are the man of ideas. When we did this activity, the example of what this caused, this kind of brainstorming of Darren's, is I'm pretty sure you had the idea of doing our final graduation video in the 80s TV infomercial style
Yeah, definitely.
Is actually a great example of how it totally got us to do something creative and random and fun. And that would be whether we're in person or not. But it got me personally out of my own comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that does that on screen, whatever silliness, but it was actually quite fun to do the whole green screen, dress up, be a different character for a while.
Absolutely. You very much put me in mind of Michelle Visage when you were doing that. It was like watching RuPaul's Drag Race all over again. Brought back great memories.
Yeah, we need to, or don't show that.
No, don't show it. Well, people would end up buying everything because we were so convincing, and but I think it's out there somewhere. We might be able to show it somewhere. Who knows? Andy might drop it on us at some point just to embarrass us. Who knows? So obviously VIA 20, we finished with the graduation after 8 weeks, and obviously we've got the rest of this year. So you were our coach for the 8 weeks. And I must admit, talking to the others, we really missed it when those 8 weeks got to the end.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that was because of COVID and it became our way of just socializing, or whether is that always the case?
Well, of course, one thing we haven't said is the academies in person are usually just 3 crazy, fast-paced days, and you don't have this long-term development and time over, these weeks to both develop relationships, develop your ideas. And that's one of the amazing benefits of VIA 20. So I think, for me, definitely, I was looking forward to Monday nights when we had our team meetings, and felt that absence when we stopped. And so, I think that's why a lot of teams kind of tried to carry something on, which I know we've talked about as well, carrying on at least like a monthly thing, or it's, no, I think it's because you're developing real close relationships when, because you're sharing such raw ideas, like it makes you vulnerable when you're sharing, these things that you often wouldn't say out loud. And that can totally happen at any academy. But I think this was a safer space also in doing that, both with the affinity buddies in other teams and then in our own teams, because we were really a team.
And the working with the team, that whole process of giving honest feedback to each other and not taking it personally and letting go of your own ideas was a massive learning curve for me. I was the whole kind of pre-academy conversations around the design of the logo and all that kind of thing. There were bits that I was really, really keen on and I didn't want to let go of. And I was kind of like, oh, why don't they like that idea? And by the end of it, I was like, oh, what's it matter? It's for 70 of us. I don't really, as long as it's good, that's what matters. But to start off with, I was, that was a great baptism of fire, that whole exercise of designing our logo before we even got started, before we even knew each other, was really tough. That was thrown in the deep end.
and so we came in as coaches when that had already been done. So the innovators, you'd already developed a cohort mentality and academy around you. So that was really cool to see, like, ooh, they've already really got on it. And then really exciting to find out that Peter, who with all of those ideas developed the logo for VIA 20, got to be on our team. So, he made our awesome Concatenate team logo as well. We were very lucky to have him.
He did, and again, that was true innovation, because I think I'm right in saying Peter just taught himself Illustrator just to produce the logo, which is just brilliant, absolutely, and it was a fantastic result at the end of it, and really captured everybody's ideas, which isn't easy to do in a group of 70 odd people. So, moving on a little bit then. You're also involved in the coaching program.
Just a bit. Mainly Laura White is heading that up. But just stepping in as we're running it from the Canopies. It's one of the things we're offering here. Actually, we're the only partner in EMEA right now, I think, officially offering it. But it's in the States as well. Lots of people are out there starting the program. Really cool that you've jumped from one program to the other.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I must admit, I'm absolutely loving it. And I've had some real kind of like mini little bright spots and breakthroughs so far with people I've been working with. So it's been really fulfilling already, and kind of allowed me to do what I've always wanted to do, which is actually get in the classroom and help people rather than stand at the front once a year and say, do this, you know.
Yeah. Well, you were already doing that much of that, you know, and that's what your project is all about as well, is helping those teachers. So a lot of coaches or people that are starting this new coaching program are those people that have already been doing that, just not getting exact, you know, support and credit for that. So any of you out there like Darren, it's a perfect program for that reason. And it's regionalized, you know, so we have a cohort that's in the UK, so you're all on the time zone. So that's a little bit easier to follow than the VIA 20 schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Spark Saturday's schedule, I don't know. I presume it's Andy that's in the chat as Innovator Program.
I assume, yes.
I do not know how you managed to pull that all together, because that was literally 24 hours solid, wasn't it? And I think Andy got about 20 minutes sleep here and there, and that was about it. He seemed to be in every session. So big respect to him, because literally, the man's a machine. So moving on a little bit then, your role within Canopy. What is your role?
I'm the Director of Digital Learning.
Which sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Director of Digital Learning. But you have been heavily involved behind the scenes with G Suite Skills, as you mentioned earlier. Do you want to share your screen and we can kind of talk through what that's all about, yeah?
Of course.
There we go.
Beautiful. So yeah, G Suite Skills, which we are still keeping it as G Suite Skills at the moment until Google decides to change everything again and move Google for Education to Workspace. Of course, they haven't done that yet, so we're waiting on that. But talking a bit about that, when we have created this, of course, everything was in G Suite, and this is sorry, this is jumping. Oh yeah, here we go. It's jumping right to the middle. I can take you through this as well.
Cool. Do love a passport.
Yeah. So basically, it's a Chrome extension that, like I said, we developed with our team in Sweden, and the how to use are what we have powered or used to power the G Suite Skills interactive tutorials that we've made. So when you go to how do you, it might ask you to log in, which is having me do here in the background, sorry. And you won't have to do that every time, just when you haven't logged in, as I guess I haven't logged in 30 minutes. So this is our package with all of the different strands of things. There's different ways to group them. And as you know, you've completed everything now. So getting the bronze, silver, and gold badges are available in each of the tools, and then also in each of the overall badges are also in gold, silver, and bronze. So what they've done here, there's a couple clever things that you can click through and see the interactive tutorials that you're doing, and they made a scheduler as well to make it super easy for teachers to put these out, or even IT specialists at schools to let them roll out over time. So it could be you can be as involved as you want in monitoring the progress.
Yeah, I think it's really important. We just point out that's not a feature of Google Classroom. That is a feature of How Do You that's been built into the classroom and allows you to schedule sort of one every Tuesday, or one on a Monday, one on a Wednesday, one on a Thursday for however many weeks, or all at once. And I think that is, I can't believe it's not in there anyway. Why that's not already part of Google Classroom, heaven only knows, because it's a fantastic idea.
So maybe Google will pick up on it. Yes, Johan at How Do You has all kinds of good ideas that you'll see more and more come as you see the package and grow, I should say. So once you've assigned them, you can group them in, as you like. And the interactive tutorials, I don't know, Darren, I should ask you, which ones were your favorites? Did you have a favorite?
Did I have a favorite? I quite like playing around with the sheets ones, actually.
Yeah.
That's not just because you've got them on the screen.
We didn't plan that.
Not at all.
I was just going to show them, yeah, because what they've done here is really quite amazing. In that,
getting started with Google Sheet. You've just received a report with Thursday's count.
Sorry,
Insert 28 in cell B4.
Talks over me.
She's very rude, isn't she?
And you can change her voice to be American as well if you like, American or British. We have it. More languages coming. But yeah, like you would be able to in any sheet, you can click around and eventually
type 28 in the highlighted cell.
If I'm messing around too much, it will tell me, okay, get to work, follow the direction there. And if you are really struggling with something, it will actually push you forward. So if students have no idea how to accomplish the task, that's when you'll see that push forward. And so it's naturally scaffolding for the learner. And then what, see, it's letting me, manipulate the data, which it's not supposed to do there, but sorry. Now it wants me to enter the sum. Oh, now this is a horrible example.
Click on the highlighted area. Create a range containing the highlighted cells.
Sorry, so now it's telling me, as you would see all of these things pop up, if you were doing an actual, in actual sheets, those amazing things where you can type in the sum here, you can use the drop-down menu here, and so this was really advanced coding here that allows everything to be possible. So there's not just one right way to do it. There's not just one route. You can think of all those multiple ways and complete it that way. So let me show you.
And it's also, although it looks like you're in G Suite here, you're not actually in G Suite, right?
Exactly, yeah. And actually everyone can try one. If you don't have G Suite even, you can still try it. Of course, this would be better if you do have it. Oh, there's our Cyber Monday deal coming up. You can buy G Suite Skills this week and get a free hour of training. Plug that. It reminded me to plug that. But,
shameless.
I know, I honestly didn't plan that. But if you go to our website, you can try one without having to log in or anything. So you can see what I'm talking about, like in opening an app.
Getting started with Google.
That you usually open an app?
Open Google Drive.
What do you usually do, Darren? Do you do the drive.google.com? Do you do the waffle? Or do you?
I tend to, if I'm opening a brand new document, I tend to use the .new shortcuts these days.
Very clever, which we do have those all integrated into the G Suite skills. But for this one, when you're just opening an app, you can do all those things. You can go to the Drive app there. You can go drive.google.com, or some people like, these are kind of directed at students. Very often what they will do is just Google that term, and you can do it technically that way too.
So how many different ways are there, Jess?
Folder named English.
There are literally thousands of pathways for the different things, because once you go one route, then it takes you, a different route entirely. The technology is intuitive, and so, based on the learner's preferences, like if keyboard shortcuts, this is where it will start to advise you to use shortcuts again. For example, this is perfect example of a shortcut that I learned from making these tutorials. So Johan is really good about knowing the keyboard shortcuts, and actually when you get your efficiency scores at the end, that's when you'll see a huge difference in your completion scores based on your efficiency. So little thing for everyone to learn. Yeah, the Shift F is your secret shortcut here to, learn that. But if you didn't know,
create a subfolder for English named Poetry.
What to do, of course, it highlights and pushes you forward, and gives you that that support that you need. So once you've done all of that, let me kind of jump to my bit here of what the results look like. So the results have those two different parts there. The competence score, which is, do you know what you're doing? How well do you know? And then the efficiency score. So oftentimes it's super low with that Google Drive one because people aren't using those shortcuts. So
yeah, I must admit, I got a bit offended at times. I was like, what? Surely I'm more efficient than that.
So yeah, that's when people oftentimes are challenged to go back and do it again. And another little hint, if you go click on this, the show most efficient solution, that's where it will show you a video. Basically, it's like a video of how to do the task most efficiently. So that's always an option at the very beginning when you're looking at it. How do you, let me show you. There's, like I said, the different language options and then the different mode options. And you can always find those that way too. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have to talk about the badges. So
yeah,
getting those scores give you these automated digital badges. These are some examples, but I have all of them here too. And actually, I can show you, the passport. I
love the idea of the passport. I think that's so cool.
Itself, yeah. So it is editable, so you can make it your own, and everyone has their own.
I was even more impressed that there was a little kind of Bitmoji avatar that actually looked like me. I was really happy with that.
Which one was that?
Well, it might have glasses and ginger hair. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, perfect. We thought of you, Darren. What else is cool is you can actually click on any one of the badges once you've obtained it, and it will show you the earning criteria and all the metadata that goes behind that. So that is, just something that we've recently released. And then, of course, there's the overall ones that you get when you earn all of that. And as you know, VIA 20, very big thing was the confetti drop with stuff. So we have the confetti drop when that's earned in G Suite Skills. So students and teachers have been loving that. Actually, I've heard about some really competitive teachers going for these, which, like I said earlier, we've kind of anticipated it already being changed to Workspace, but right now, technically still G Suite Skills. And bravo to Darren for being our very first Workspace whiz. This is our special, like, you've done it all kind of thing that we've
See, that works nicely with Workspace,
Yeah, right? That's what we were going for. So that's kind of the basic overview. I don't know if anyone has questions, but that is how you import your grades then into Classroom as well. We're working on a back end of being able to see the data in a much more advanced way as well. Lots of people have been requesting that. We're working on it. But right now you can see all of the user scores in Classroom like that.
And like you say, just an import button, the same as we would use with a Google quiz, just brings it all in, which is brilliant. If people have got questions about G Suite Skills, do drop them in the chat, because we'll certainly do our best to answer them as we're going through.
Oh yeah, we should say Ben was also number 2. The two of you. We can't forget Ben not being here presently, but good to know you liked Gmail.
Yeah, he loves it, and I think he's thrown down the gauntlet at work with a few other staff as well to suggest that they should have already done it. So, but we did. Obviously, we had the opportunity to use some of those tutorials, and I know Ben arranged for all of our Year 7s to do some of the earlier bronze level tasks or units, if you like. And what we did at our school is we took Year 7 homework off timetable for a week and set all of those G Suite skills that we had available to them through Google Classroom. And that was their homework for that week. So by the end of the week, I think that was probably about 3rd or 4th week of term. So by the end of that week, all of our Year 7s were up to speed with how to open their emails, how to open documents, how to make folders and everything else. And it's been a real bonus, So definitely moving forward, our whole trust is now involved, which is 58 schools, and looking forward to seeing what kind of results we get out of that, because it should be some really good numbers.
Yes, we're excited to see the numbers too.
Yeah, and Simon said he's signed. Simon in the chat said he signed his school up as well, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
And it is brilliant. Like you said, with those efficiency scores, you still learn something. And yeah, the Shift F for the new folder was one for me, and ridiculous one was the using Shift A to select all in a sheet. Never knew you could do that.
Right. Yeah. There's so many different ways.
Yeah. It just saves so much time, and also saves on your wrists on the mouse and on the trackpads and all that kind of thing. So it's really, really good to see.
Yeah, the Howdy, I should say, they came from a business background, and that they were created primarily to try to make the workspace environment, more efficient. So people, if you have a person working with spreadsheets all the time, and they're doing the same thing day after day, hour after hour, the same long, tedious way, and if you show them this one quick fix that changes everything, you could see how significant that would be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for our scores efficiency with students, it could be the matter of when you give that direction in class and you have to wait for all of your students to get on the same page, that moment of, getting everyone to be ready for the next thing. It's nice to know that there's some little shortcuts sometimes for that. And the students, and so far, teachers and students both have really been just excited and interested and loving. Like, we love the feedback we're getting, and we love to get feedback as well of what they want to see, and what kind of things they were surprised by. So always happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the things I really like about it is because it links so nicely with Google Classroom, you can literally just set it and let it go, because it's so intuitive and so obvious. Not just to students, but to teachers who may not be that confident, which is a big kind of focus of mine anyway through my VIA project. It's always my say buddy. It's always good to be able to click through and physically do it, but not feel like you're getting it wrong, and that pushing you through and zeroing in on the right part of the screen, I think is super helpful for those people as they're learning, and does what I think sometimes in English education we do an awful lot of, which is focus too much on accuracy and everything being right, and not enough on trial and error and just explore.
Learn from mistakes. Yeah, learning by doing. That's what
exactly
it's all about.
Absolutely, definitely.
Constructivist base is really important to us, and to me it always has been. That's what my core education is, and we've talked a lot about with VIA 20 as well. So that is definitely present, and just letting kids or teachers have a go, and know that they can't mess anything up, they can't break anything. Sometimes people think that they're logged into their actual drive, or they think, oh no, if I delete this, is it actually deleting something? But no, that they are quite lifelike. But know that you're not going to mess anything up by trying them out.
I just see Peter's put in the chat that he started a competition. First student and staff get a Christmas hamper.
Oh, nice.
So, I don't know if you've got any jobs going, Peter, but you could get some interest from the people in the chat. What a great idea, and what a nice way to send people off to Christmas. Feeling more efficient, feeling more confident, and with a Christmas hamper at the same time.
I love
brilliant. Where are we?
Great idea for the other schools, or that might be a little bit of a challenge as well. That's what we're even seeing, some challenges between schools, as the thousands of badges. The Peter School has already far more than 3,000. That was, I think, our last marker that we kind of celebrated. And so we're excited to see that go up and up and up. Of course, we understand some schools have different numbers of students and teachers, but also we can measure the improvements made and the attempts and everything. So even if we're seeing people don't stop at just one try, but trying again and trying to do it better, that also goes, or speaks very loudly. people.
Yeah, see, that was the other thing I quite liked about the results as well. Alongside the efficiency, you've got that top bar, which is your competence, but in certain aspects, you've got that sort of gain bar that's in there, which just, goes to show you how much you already knew and then how much extra you've learned. And I just think it's so nice to actually show people and tell people you knew this much, you've learned this much, because so often people don't believe it. And when you see it in writing, you kind of just go, oh, did I? Brilliant. Okay. Because it's almost like Pavlov's dog and you just agree with it, don't you? So I thought that was really nice to be able to see, okay, prior to this, I was about here, and then, okay, I've gained that much and I just need to be more efficient with it. So let's find out how. Brilliant. We're definitely going to be using this with our staff for onboarding and things like that, because it's super simple and they can do it in their own time as well.
Yes, it's totally self-paced and everything, and it breaks it down as much as you wanted to. As you notice the gain bit there, maybe you can see, hopefully the screen is large enough, those white lines through it. That's matched with that sub-skill down here saying, oh, that's where you needed a little bit of help or a little bit of push, that scaffold was that you couldn't find your recently opened files. So that's what you go back and can better next time. So yeah, we are, again, always updating these and finding other ways to enhance them. But yeah, that's one thing that I love to see too, as you said, all the breakdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's going to be a bit of a challenge in itself, keeping them up to date with things constantly changing, right?
Yep, Google's made us stay very busy.
Yeah,
unit with all of their icon updates that are
fantastic. Cool. Where do you sit with the whole icon argument? Are you old or new?
New versus old? Ooh, well, I really like the colors, so I'd have to say new. Is it getting kicked off, or is that where do you stand?
No, I like the colors as well. My only bugbear is that the meat and the calendar are the same shape almost.
Yeah, Andy
so that throws me.
That actually, some of them look so similar now that you don't know exactly what you're going for. Yeah.
No. Yeah. But there is an extension out there where you can get them put back to the old ones, at least on your tabs, which is quite helpful, which Eric Kurt shared on Gig Ohio a couple of weeks ago. So it doesn't change it everywhere, but it does change it on your tabs. So, if you do like the old ones, you can go back to them. But there you go.
Yeah, that is the point, accessibility wise, Ben. Yeah, the old ones make sense in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's just like anything, isn't it? If you can go for a particular color with some students, it's easier, but then for others, the colors aren't helpful. So it's just finding what works, isn't it?
Well, in G Suite skills, with the how do you, it will push you towards the one in case you don't know.
Yep, so, absolutely.
Taking care of that.
So, Jess, before we kind of finish up, just in case people have got any more questions, just pop them in the chat for us. But what would your advice be to somebody, your personal advice to somebody looking to apply to the Innovator Academy?
Yeah.
Whether it's in person or online next.
I think Andy gave some great feedback earlier.
He did, yeah. I was just giving him a chance to log in with another email address if he wanted to.
He's several people. Yeah, to focus on the problem, not offer solutions. That was definitely one of the main things that we were looking at in the review of the applications. And, just as Vinny say, and I saw some other coaches here, I think Abid too.
Abid's here, yeah.
It's everywhere. Fall in love with the solution. Fall in love with your problem, not the solution. Yeah, just really be, okay with struggling with that and not trying to have it all figured out, because that's what the Academy is all about. Having the creative and amazing minds around you to help support you in maybe coming up with a solution you had never imagined.
Absolutely. And, it's something I found really difficult. And I think as educators, it's very difficult to not suggest a solution. And he's managed to join us in the end, which is really nice. I'm glad he could make it, because you'll have to watch it back, Andy, because you've missed the start of the show. But from the point of view of, the whole Innovator experience, I think I nearly didn't apply.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't going to. I wouldn't have been able to do it if it had been in person. And then when it went virtual, I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon and wrote my application and threw it in a couple of hours and just went, do you know what? I'll see what happens.
Wow. Well done.
And it worked out really well. Others I know spent weeks and weeks and weeks on it. And for some people it works out and some people it don't. But a lot of people have said to me, people who are innovators already or have been coaches and mentors and things like that, it's about, you know, the time being right for you. And actually VIA and everything else and lockdown probably was the right time for me because it meant I had time to do it. Whereas ordinarily I wouldn't have had.
We did see that shift when the teachers had to go back to work, or many teachers. Of course, we had educators from all around the world in as innovators, but in the September month, it was a challenge for some people also to balance it with life and work and everything else. But did amazingly, I think. You especially, I don't know how you do it. Like I said, you do everything. But yeah, that's something to consider. And I know some people, I think it's Kat, actually, one of our trainers, who said that she's actually happy that she didn't get in previously because it wouldn't have been a good time for her. You know, she feels like time that the academy she got in was meant to be for her. So yeah, definitely don't stop trying. Like, there's tons of people that have got in on subsequent tries. So yeah. And I think someone asked about the virtual piece. As and Andy's giving that official info. Yeah, we definitely hope to keep that online element because, like you said, it brings in a whole different group of people that maybe couldn't, for whatever accessibility, reasons, couldn't do that in person. Oftentimes we can't just fly. Like, I was so excited to fly from Italy at my school there to Sweden for my academy. But that is a luxury, that usually educators have to pay for themselves.
Yeah.
So the VIA aspect took that all out of the problem zone.
Yeah. And, within the academy, we talk a lot about pivoting. And that's probably the biggest pivot ever from, yes, we've got 4 in-person academies across the course of this year to all of a sudden we're doing it online all in one go. And there's a chap called Andy in the chat who's mentioned it took 3 attempts to get accepted. And they wouldn't even let him into the London Academy. So there you go. There you go.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, that some people don't get accepted for their local academies and then have to go. Yeah. I mean, it's a great excuse to travel, or used to be. Hopefully it will also
travel. What's that? What's travel?
Oh, so sad.
The only passport I'm getting is my G-Squeeze skills.
Some stamps in our passports this year.
That is the only one I'll be using, I'm pretty sure. So. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Jess. Really do appreciate it. It's been great to chat. I don't think we've got any more questions in the chat, so we'll probably wrap it up there. But thanks ever so much for joining us, and do come back again another time. And I hope lots of people get on board with G Suite Skills and follow both yourself and Andy and Canopy and what you guys are doing for educators around the world, because I think it's fantastic. And thank you for all your support throughout VIA 20, not just for me, but for all of the cohort that were involved. So massive thank you. And with that, we'll say good night. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and take care.
Yeah.